I am Naomi Carter, and I was 26 years old the night my own mother locked me out of the home I was paying for. I clocked out of the physical therapy center in Havenport, Ohio just after 9:15 p.m., my shoulders burning and my legs trembling the way they always did after a 12-hour shift of lifting patients and pretending I wasn't exhausted. Before we go on, please like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a story like this. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because what happened that night changed everything I thought I knew about family, loyalty, and myself. The parking lot was slick with old rain, the air sharp enough to sting my lungs. My phone lit up as I reached my car. 3 missed calls from my mother, Lorraine Carter. I didn't call back. I already knew the script by heart. Rent was late. Groceries were low. My little half-brother needed something new again: shoes, school supplies, a coat he'd outgrow in 6 months. Somehow, it always landed on me. As I drove, I rehearsed the usual peace offering. Stop at the corner gas station. Milk, bread, eggs. Maybe those lemon cookies Lorraine liked. Walk in quiet. Keep my voice soft. Don't mention how tired I was. Don't ask questions. Don't remind her I paid most of the bills. Our apartment complex wasn't fancy, but it was familiar. Same flickering porch light. Same neighbor's dog barking like it was on commission. Same smell of fried onions drifting through the stairwell. I climbed the steps with my keys already in hand, thinking only about a hot shower and silence. That's when I saw it. The deadbolt on our door was new. Bright silver instead of the old scratched brass. A strip of painter's tape ran crooked along the frame, like a rushed bandage. My chest tightened. I slid my key in anyway, turning slowly, praying. It wouldn't budge. The lock refused to turn, like the door itself had decided I no longer belonged. I knocked once. Then twice. Nothing. No footsteps. No voices. Just the hum of the hallway heater and the sound of my own breathing getting faster. My phone buzzed. A text from Lorraine. We're not doing this anymore. Don't make a scene. My vision blurred. Doing what anymore? Paying for everything? Being the backup adult? Carrying responsibilities that were never supposed to be mine? I typed back with shaking fingers. Mom, what are you talking about? Open the door. The typing bubbles appeared. Then disappeared. Another message came through. Your things are in bags by the stairs. Take them and go. My heart slammed against my ribs. I looked down the hallway. 2 black trash bags sat near the railing, slumped and torn like they'd been dragged there without care. One was split open, and I could see the edge of my navy scrubs, the ones with my name stitched on the chest. My hands started shaking, not from the cold, but from humiliation. It felt like being fired from my own life. I tried the door again, harder this time. Knocked with my fist until my knuckles stung. Mom, I whispered, because some stupid part of me still cared about being quiet. A door down the hall cracked open. Mrs. Keller, an older woman with tired eyes, peered out. She looked from my face to the trash bags and back again. Everything all right, sweetheart? I forced a smile. Just locked out. Must be a mistake. She didn't look convinced. Do you want me to call someone? I swallowed. I'm okay. My phone buzzed again. Don't call the police. You'll regret it. That was the moment something broke inside me. Not sadness. Not fear. Clarity. I picked up the trash bags and carried them down the stairs like evidence. Under the yellow glow of the parking lot light, I opened the first bag. My life spilled out. A framed photo of me and Lorraine at a county fair. My therapy textbooks. My spare car keys. My birth certificate, bent at the corner like someone had searched through it in a hurry. The second bag held the things that mattered most. My favorite sweater. My journal. And a thick envelope stuffed with receipts. I hadn't thought about that envelope in months. I started saving receipts years ago, after Lorraine once screamed, "You never do anything for this family." I'd slid a grocery receipt across the table like proof of loyalty. She'd torn it in half. So I kept saving them. Standing there in the cold, I opened my banking app. Transfers filled the screen. Rent. Utilities. Phone plan. Groceries. Mom. Month after month. I scrolled back 6 months. Then a year. And it finally hit me. I wasn't helping. I was funding a household where I was treated like disposable labor. I typed one message. I'm coming in. This is illegal. No reply. I stared up at the apartment door like it belonged to a stranger. Then I did something I'd never done before. I called my supervisor, Marianne, and said, voice shaking, "Do you know anyone who helps with housing or legal stuff?" She didn't hesitate. "Stay where you are," she said. I'm calling legal aid and the non-emergency line. And Naomi, don't apologize for needing a place to sleep. 20 minutes later, a patrol car pulled in. The officer listened while I explained the lock, the texts, the bags. He asked one question that made my stomach twist. Is your name on the lease? I don't know, I admitted. My mom handles it. But I pay. He nodded. If you live there and someone locks you out, that can be an illegal lockout. He knocked on the door. Police department. Silence. Then Lorraine's voice, sharp and controlled. She doesn't live here anymore. My chest burned. If her belongings are inside and she receives mail here, the officer said calmly, you can't change the locks without process. Lorraine laughed. She's grown. Let her be grown somewhere else. Mom, I said, my voice cracking. Why are you doing this? Because I'm done being disrespected. Disrespected how? I asked. The officer raised a hand gently. Ma'am, please open the door. The deadbolt clicked once. The door opened a few inches. Lorraine stood there wearing my old robe. Behind her, I saw the living room. A new TV. Takeout containers. And a man's boots by the door. Evan, her boyfriend. She's not coming in, Lorraine said. Supporting me? I almost laughed. But I didn't. Because this was only the beginning. The officer asked if I wanted to go back inside or leave for the night. I stared past him at the apartment door, at the space that used to feel like home and now felt hostile, like it might swallow me whole if I crossed the threshold again. Going back in would mean sleeping in a place that had already decided I was disposable. Leaving would mean walking away with my life in trash bags. Old me would have gone inside just to keep the peace. New me didn't want peace that came at the cost of my dignity. I'll leave, I said finally. But I want this documented. Lorraine scoffed from behind the door. You're being dramatic. The officer nodded. That's your right. Marianne arrived 10 minutes later, still in scrubs, her hair pulled back tight, eyes sharp with purpose. She hugged me once, firm and grounding, then spoke to the officer with the confidence of someone who had seen too many young people broken by families who treated them like resources instead of humans. She has proof, Marianne said. Texts. Bank transfers. Residency. I handed over my phone. The officer read silently, his expression hardening as he scrolled. We're not doing this anymore. Don't call the police. Take your bags and go. That's pretty clear, he said. Lorraine folded her arms. She's not a tenant. She's my daughter. Adult daughter, Marianne corrected calmly. And she pays. The officer asked if I received mail at the address. Yes, I said. Tax documents. License renewal. Lorraine snapped. She used my address. I laughed once, sharp and hollow. I used my home. The officer turned to me. You can re-enter tonight, or you can leave voluntarily and pursue this through civil channels. I looked at the couch I'd unknowingly paid for. At Evan's boots. At my mother's face, no apology, no shame. I'm leaving, I said. But I want my name checked. I want to know what's been opened under it. Lorraine rolled her eyes. Paranoid. Smart, Marianne said. I picked up my bags and walked away without running, without crying, without begging. In the stairwell, Lorraine called after me, her voice suddenly sweet. Naomi, don't be dramatic. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk. I didn't turn around. That night, I slept on Marianne's couch, staring at the ceiling fan as it turned slow circles. My body was exhausted, but my mind wouldn't rest. Every memory replayed with new meaning. Every time Lorraine asked for help. Every time she handled paperwork. Every piece of mail she said was junk. In the morning, I went straight to the credit union. Then to a small nonprofit office that offered free credit reports. The woman behind the desk, Elaine, clicked through screens, her lips pressing into a thin line as she read. Do you recognize these accounts? She asked carefully. I leaned closer. A store credit card from a furniture outlet. A payment plan from an appliance store. A revolving credit line with a balance that looked like a car. No, I whispered. These were opened 2 years ago, Elaine said. At your mother's address. The room tilted. 2 years. That meant while I was studying for exams. While I was picking up overtime shifts. While I was buying groceries and telling myself I was building stability, someone was building debt in my name. Can I fix this? I asked. Elaine nodded. You can dispute. You can file identity theft reports. You can freeze your credit today. I signed forms with shaking hands. Each signature felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. From there, I went to legal aid. The attorney, Mr. Harris, listened without interrupting. Ask simple questions. Did I live there? Was I locked out? Did I contribute financially? More than contribute, I said. I paid almost everything. He leaned back in his chair. You have grounds for an illegal lockout claim. And if your identity was used, that's serious. I don't want to destroy her, I admitted. He nodded. Most people don't. But protecting yourself sometimes means letting consequences exist. I didn't go back to the apartment. For a week, I stayed with Marianne. I worked my shifts. I moved through my days like I was carrying a full tray, careful not to spill, not to collapse. Lorraine left voicemails. You're acting like a victim. Evan thinks you're being immature. I miss you, baby. Call me. Then came the real message. We're behind on rent. If you don't pay by Friday, we'll get evicted. Don't be cruel. I listened twice, my thumb hovering over the call button. Old instincts screamed to fix it. Instead, I opened the folder Marianne helped me organize. Texts, bank statements, credit reports. I called Mr. Harris. She wants rent money, I said. Don't send anything directly, he replied. If you want to help the child, there are proper channels. But based on what you've shared, let the process work. The process moved faster than I expected. A formal letter went out regarding the illegal lockout. Another report flagged the fraudulent accounts. Then the landlord contacted me. And what he revealed knocked the air out of my lungs. The lease is in your name, he said. Primary tenant. Your mother is listed as an occupant. I never signed it, I whispered. There was a pause. It was signed electronically, he said. 2 years ago. Marianne's face hardened when I told her. She used you, she said. Plain and simple. Anger settled in my chest, heavy but steady. The hearing was scheduled for a Tuesday morning. The courthouse smelled like coffee and old paper. I wore a navy dress and carried my folder like armor. Lorraine arrived late, lipstick sharp, posture defensive. Evan followed, smirking like this was entertainment. I didn't look at him. I looked at the judge. Lorraine cried first. Trembling voice. Ungrateful daughter. Abandonment. I listened without reacting. When it was my turn, I spoke slowly. I showed the texts. The transfers. The accounts. The judge's expression tightened with every page. Did you change the locks? She asked Lorraine. Yes, Lorraine snapped. She was disrespectful. That is not legal justification, the judge replied. Did you open accounts in your daughter's name? No, Lorraine said quickly. I handed over the documents. These accounts list your address and phone number, the judge said. Do you wish to dispute that? Lorraine went silent. The judge turned to me. You have a strong case. Do you wish to pursue damages? I thought about revenge. Then I thought about peace. I want my credit restored, I said. I want the lockout documented. And no further contact except through legal channels. Granted, the judge said. Outside, Lorraine cornered me on the steps. So you're really doing this? She hissed. I'm doing what you taught me, I said quietly. Handling it. You owe me, she snapped. You taught me responsibility, I replied. But you didn't teach me safety. I learned that on my own. Evan scoffed. I turned to him. You benefited from debt in my name. Don't speak to me like I'm the problem. He said nothing. As I walked away, each step felt lighter. I wasn't broken. I was done. Life didn't reset overnight after the courthouse steps. There was no cinematic fade out where everything suddenly made sense. Healing came in quieter ways, in paperwork and boundaries and long nights where sleep arrived in fragments instead of peace. The first thing that changed was silence. Not the heavy, awkward kind, but the absence of constant demands. No calls asking for money. No guilt-wrapped emergencies. No messages that made my chest tighten before I even read them. The quiet felt unfamiliar at first, like standing in a room after a loud machine shuts off. My ears kept waiting for the noise to return. I moved into a small studio across town 2 weeks later. It had creaky floors, thin walls, and sunlight that poured in every afternoon like it had nowhere better to be. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. No one could lock me out of it. No one could rearrange my life while I was at work. I bought a second-hand couch that smelled faintly of fabric cleaner and a tiny kitchen table with one uneven leg. I set my keys on the counter the first night and just stared at them, overwhelmed by the fact that they only belonged to me. Work felt different too. Lighter. I still worked long shifts. Still came home tired. But the exhaustion no longer came with resentment attached to it. Every hour I worked was now for my own stability, not for patching holes in someone else's sinking ship. The credit disputes moved slowly but steadily. Accounts fell off one by one. Letters arrived confirming investigations, reversals, corrections. Each envelope felt like proof that I hadn't imagined the betrayal, that the damage had been real, and that it could be undone. Some nights, anger still surfaced. I would replay Lorraine's words in my head. Disrespectful. Dramatic. You owe me. But the anger didn't consume me the way it once would have. It showed up, made its point, and left. I learned that feelings didn't need to be solved, just acknowledged and released. Lorraine tried new angles. Messages came through relatives. A cousin texted, she's struggling. You know how she is. An aunt said, family forgives. A neighbor passed along, she didn't mean it like that. I didn't respond. Silence, I learned, is not cruelty. It's clarity. A handwritten letter showed up one afternoon, slipped into my mailbox like a quiet ambush. Lorraine's handwriting looped across the page, soft and familiar. She wrote about stress, about feeling overwhelmed, about mistakes made out of fear. There was no apology, just explanation. Justification dressed up as vulnerability. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. Not as evidence, as closure. The only contact I allowed was for my half-brother. When Lorraine agreed to supervised visits, I took them. I met him at parks, libraries, neutral places where love didn't come with strings attached. He'd hold my hand and chatter about school, about cartoons, about things that had nothing to do with money or guilt. Why don't you live with us anymore? He asked once, swinging his legs from a bench. Because grown-ups have to live where they're treated kindly, I said. He nodded like he understood something deeper than words. That was enough. Months passed. The legal boundaries held. Lorraine stopped calling when she realized there would be no reaction to provoke, no money to extract, no emotional supply left to tap. Evan disappeared from the picture entirely. I didn't ask how or why. That chapter wasn't mine to read anymore. One Sunday evening, while cooking pasta in my quiet kitchen, my phone buzzed. Her name appeared. The old instinct flared. Answer, explain, fix. Instead, I let it ring. Then a message arrived. We won't make it without you. He left. I'm behind again. I'm your mother. I sat down at my small table and let myself feel everything. The grief of not having a mother who could love without taking. The anger of being used. The tenderness that still existed for the woman I once hoped she could be. Then I typed carefully. Not emotionally. Not reactively. Not angrily. I hope you get help. I can't be your plan anymore. If you need resources, I can send numbers for assistance programs. Do not contact me for money. Do not come to my home. I read it twice. Then I sent it. The world didn't end. No explosion. No retaliation. No collapse. Just quiet. The pasta simmered. The window plant leaned toward the fading light. For the first time, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt earned. I ate slowly. Washed the dishes. Stood by the window and watched streetlights flicker on one by one. Somewhere else, Lorraine was probably telling her version of the story. One where she was wronged, abandoned, misunderstood. I let her have it. Her narrative was no longer my responsibility. Mine was simpler. I had survived being locked out, of a home, of a family, of a role I was never meant to carry. I rebuilt a life that couldn't be taken with a key change. I learned that love without respect is not love, it's labor. And the truest form of revenge wasn't punishment or bitterness. It was peace. It was choosing myself. It was locking my own door at night and knowing the only person with the key was me. And before I end this story, please like, comment, and subscribe if this resonated with you. And tell me where you're watching from, because stories like this remind us that boundaries are not cruelty. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away and build a life that no one else gets to control.